Hello, my dear sweet, lovely, and smart students. Welcome to the virtual class of Ajmani International School. Dear students, today we are going to study chapter number 21, The Tunnel. But before we go through the chapter, we must know what is the tunnel. A tunnel is an artificial underground passage, especially built through a hill or under a building, road, or river. Now we'll go through the chapter and we'll understand what is the chapter saying. Sonu stood near the cutting waiting for the midday train. He was waiting so that he could watch the steam engine come roaring out of the tunnel. Here is a boy named Sonu who is waiting for the midday train and waiting for that steam engine which has to come roaring out of the tunnel. He had cycled out of Dehradun. He came from Dehradun, taken the jungle path, a shortcut, and he reached to a small village. He left the cycle there and again walked to the tunnel exit. He looked up. He heard the shrill whistle. Shrill whistle means a high-pitched sound of the engine, but couldn't see anything because the train was approaching from the other side of the hill. He has heard the sound of the steam engine but could not find anything as that steam engine was coming from the other side of the hill. Presently, a sound like rumbling thunder issued from the tunnel, means a high sound is coming from the tunnel. A second or two later, the steam engine shot out of the tunnel, snorting and puffing like some green, black and gold dragon. Within a minute, a steam engine came inside the tunnel and different colors like green, black and gold. So these are the colors denoting the boxes of these steam engines. So they are of different colors and there are some like beautiful monsters as if Sonu dreams. Showering sparks left and right and it roared a challenge to the jungle. Sonu stepped back and the waves of hot steam struck him on the face of the Sonu. Even the trees seemed to flinch. Flinch means moving backwards from the noise and heat. And then the train had gone. The jungle was still again. Sonu turned and began walking towards the tunnel. The tunnel grew darker as he walked further into it. Means as the Sonu get inside the tunnel, it became darker and also the pitch became black. Ahead of him, the tunnel's other opening was just a small round circle light. The tunnel was still full of smoke, means when the steam engine arrived earlier inside the tunnel was filled with gas, the smoke of steam engine. But there is several hours before another train came through. Sonu walked through the tunnel. The walls were damp and sticky. The walls of the tunnel were sticky. A bat was there. A lizard scuttled between the lines. The lizard was moving between the lines. Coming straight from the darkness into the light means as he went out from the tunnel, he saw a light. So the light was directly coming on the Sonu's eyes. So he put his hand on the eyes to give shade to his eyes. About 15 meters from the entrance to the tunnel stood the watchman's hut. Marigolds grew in front of the hut and at the back there was a small vegetable patch. So this is the scenario around the watchman's hut. It was the watchman's duty to inspect the tunnel and keep it clear of obstacles. Obstacles means hurdles. Every day before the train came through, he would walk the length of the tunnel. If all was well, he would return to his hut and take a nap. Nap means a short sleep. If something was wrong, he would walk back up the line, wave a red flag. We used to wave a red flag only when there is a kind of danger and the engine driver would slow down. What? A steam engine. At night, the watchman lit an oil lamp and made a similar inspection of the tunnel. Means it was a kind of duty of the watchman to inspect the tunnel before the train arrives. He was just settling down on his cot for an afternoon nap when he saw the boy emerge from the tunnel. Who was the boy? Sonu. Sonu was the boy who was arriving to the watchman. When Sonu came closer, he said, "Welcome, welcome. I don't often have visitors. Means I don't have visitors over here. So welcome. Sit down for a while and tell me why you were inspecting my tunnel. Is it your tunnel? Asked Sonu. Means watchman was asking to Sonu why you are inspecting my tunnel. So Sonu said, is it your tunnel? Then watchman said, yes, it is truly my tunnel, since no one else will have anything to do with it. I have only lent it to the government. Means he has only lent it to the government, and the tunnel is of whom? Of watchman. Sonu sat down on the edge of the cot. I wanted to see the train and walk through the tunnel, he said. Means Sonu said that I wanted to watch the train, so I walked through the tunnel to get a look on the steam engine. And what did you find in it? Nothing. It was very dark, but when I came out, I thought I saw an animal upon the hill, but I am not sure it moved off very quickly. Means Sonu was saying that when I was passing through the tunnel, I saw an animal, but I am not sure about it, that whether there was an animal or not, because it moved off very quickly. It was a leopard you saw. Now the watchman is saying, might you have seen a leopard? My leopard. Is it dangerous? No, it's a leopard that minds its own business. Now the watchman is saying, might you have seen a leopard? And that leopard is mine and he minds his own business. He does not harm anyone. It comes to this range for a new race every month. Have you been here a long time? Asked Sonu. Many years. My name is Sundar Singh. And the name of the watchman was Sundar Singh and the name of a boy was Sonu. So they both were introducing themselves by their name. Sundar Singh yawned and stretched himself out on the cot. And now I am going to take a nap, my friend. It is too hot to be up and about. So watchman is going to take a nap. The following evening towards dusk, means when the sun is about to set, as the flying foxes swooped silently out of the trees, Sonu made his way to the watchman's hut. Means as the evening passes, Sonu again went to the watchman's hut. Sundar Singh was waiting for Sonu. He had watered his small garden. The flowers looked cool and fresh. Kettle was boiling on a small stove. I am making tea, he said. There is nothing like a glass of hot tea while waiting for a train. Means while we wait for a train, we must have a tea together. They drank their tea, listening to the sharp notes of the forest birds. Means they were listening to the chirping of the birds' sound. As the brief twilight faded, most of the birds fell silent. Sundar Singh lit his oil lamp. Means as the dawn came across, Sundar Singh lit his oil lamp and said it was a time for him to inspect the tunnel. Means now it is the night time and I am going to inspect the tunnel. So before inspecting it, he lit a oil lamp. He went to the tunnel while Sonu sat on the cot sipping his tea. Means as the watchman went to have an inspect for the tunnel, Sonu was sitting on the cot and having his tea. Sundar Singh stood inside the tunnel trimming his lamp. The night sound were familiar to him as it was earlier, and he did not give them much thought. But something else, a padded football, a rustle of dry leaves, made him stand still for a few seconds, peering into the darkness. Then, humming softly to himself, he returned to where Sonu was waiting. Then 10 minutes remained for the night mail to arrive. Means he visited inside the tunnel, have an inspection. He came back where Sonu was waiting, and after 10 minutes, the night mail was going to arrive. As Sundar Singh sat down on the cot beside Sonu, a new sound reached both of them quite distinctly, a rhythmic sawing sound, as of someone cutting through the branch of a tree. What is that? Whispered Sonu. It is the leopard, said Sundar Singh. I think it's in the tunnel. The train will soon be here, said Sonu. Yes, my friend, and if we don't drive the leopard out of the tunnel, it will be run over and killed. I can't let that happen. So both were discussing about having a conversation that when they heard the sound, they thought that might somebody is there inside the tunnel. So the watchman said it might be a leopard. Then they have decided to drive him out, but also there was quite a danger of life. But won't it attack us if we try to drive it out? Asked Sonu, beginning to share the watchman's concern. Not this leopard, it knows me well. We have seen each other many times. It has a weakness for goats and stray dogs, but it will not harm us. Even so, I'll take my axe with me. Raising his lamp, Sundar Singh advanced into the tunnel, shouting at the top of his voice to try and scare away the animal. So he was shouting as if the animal should go away from the tunnel. Sonu followed close behind, but he found he was unable to do any shouting. His throat was quite dry. They had gone about 20 paces into the tunnel when the light from the lamp fell upon the leopard. It was crouching between the tracks, only 5 meters away from them. When the light fell upon the leopard, they saw that the leopard was standing just about 5 meters away from them. Sonu and Sundar Singh both shouted together. Their voices rang through the tunnel, and the leopard thought that there might be many humans inside the tunnel. So he went away and disappeared into the darkness. To make sure that it had gone, Sundar Singh and Sonu walked the length of the tunnel. When they returned to the entrance, the rails were beginning to hum. They knew the train was coming. Means when the leopard went away from the tunnel, just to check out, they walked inside the tunnel and they saw that the leopard has gone, and just after that they heard a humming sound of the rail and they knew that the train was coming. Sonu put his hand to one of the rails and felt its tremor. He heard the distant rumble of the train, and then the engine came round the bend, hissing at them, scattering sparks into the darkness, defying the jungle as it roared through the steep sides of the cutting. It charged straight at the tunnel and into it, thundering past Sonu like the beautiful dragon of his dreams. And when it had gone, the silence returned and the forest seemed to breathe to live again. Only the rails still trembled with the passing of the train. Means when they heard the humming sound, they saw that the train was coming and getting inside the tunnel. So it was a beautiful dream of the Sonu that he has seen a roaring dragon of his dream. And again when the train passes, again a complete silence was there inside the jungle. Thank you for watching this video. Hope you like this video and have understood the chapter.